Somewhere, right now, there is money with your name on it. Not stolen. Not hidden. Just forgotten. A security deposit nobody returned. A paycheck from a job you left in a hurry. An insurance payout mailed to an address you moved out of years ago. It's sitting in a government account, waiting. And the strange part isn't that it exists. The strange part is that most people never go looking for it. Every year, in the United States alone, unclaimed property offices hold more than $70 billion. Not company profits. Not tax revenue. Money that legally belongs to specific, named individuals, who simply never came to collect it. Multiply that pattern across other countries, and you're looking at one of the largest quietly sitting piles of personal wealth on the planet. So where does it actually go? And why does so much of it just stay there? Let's start with the mechanics, because they're simpler than you'd expect. When a business owes you money and can't reach you, whether that's a forgotten bank account, an unused gift card, an old utility deposit, or shares from a company you worked for, it doesn't get to just keep it. After a set period of inactivity, usually somewhere between 1 and 5 years depending on the type of asset, the law requires that business to hand the money over to the state. This process has a name: escheatment. It comes from an old legal principle, dating back centuries, that ownerless property eventually reverts to a larger authority, in this case, the state, which holds it in trust rather than seizing it outright. That last detail matters more than it sounds. The state isn't stealing your money. It's holding it, indefinitely, waiting for you to prove it's yours. In most places, there's no expiration date on claiming it back. You could search a database in 20 years and still find, and still recover, money owed to you today. So if it's just sitting there, free for the taking, why does so much of it go unclaimed for years, sometimes forever? This is where the story stops being about banking law and starts being about how your brain handles small, boring, distant rewards. Richard Thaler, the behavioral economist who won a Nobel Prize largely for demonstrating how far real human decision-making drifts from purely rational choice, spent decades studying a pattern he called the status quo bias. People, overwhelmingly, tend to stick with whatever requires the least action, even when a better option is sitting right in front of them. Checking a government database for money that might be yours requires effort, a little uncertainty, and a task that feels administrative rather than urgent. So it gets filed under later. And later, for most people, quietly becomes never. There's a deeper layer underneath that, too. George Loewenstein, a researcher known for his work on how people evaluate rewards across time, has shown again and again that humans are wired to undervalue anything that isn't immediate. A $20 bill in your hand today feels more real, more motivating, than an uncertain $50 that might be sitting in a database somewhere, tied to a company you can barely remember. Your brain isn't built to get excited about a hypothetical refund from an insurance policy you canceled 8 years ago. It's built to respond to what's directly in front of you, right now, today. And then there's a third piece, maybe the most human piece of all. Eldar Shafir, a psychologist who has studied how scarcity and cognitive load shape decision-making, found that when people are juggling enough immediate pressures, rent, bills, a job, a family, their mental bandwidth for anything outside that immediate circle shrinks dramatically. Searching a state unclaimed property website for a security deposit from 3 apartments ago isn't just low priority. It often isn't on the list at all. Not because people don't care about the money. Because the mind, under enough pressure, simply stops allocating attention to anything that isn't right in front of it. Put those 3 things together, and you get a strange, almost invisible design flaw sitting quietly inside modern life. A system exists to return money to its rightful owners. The process is legal, safe, and usually free. And still, billions of dollars sit unclaimed, year after year, not because anyone is hiding it, but because claiming it competes against every more urgent thing your brain is already juggling. Here's where it gets stranger still. Some states eventually do get to use that unclaimed money, at least temporarily. While waiting for owners to come forward, many state treasuries invest these funds or use them to support public budgets, always with the legal obligation to pay claimants back the full original amount whenever they show up. In effect, forgotten money from millions of individual people quietly becomes working capital for the public system around them. Your unclaimed 20-year-old security deposit might have helped fund a road, a school program, or an emergency reserve, long before you ever thought to look for it. That's not a scandal. It's just an unusually honest picture of how forgetting works at scale. One person forgetting a small refund is nothing. 10 million people forgetting small refunds over years becomes an entire quiet layer of the economy, propped up by inattention instead of intention. You've probably lived a small version of this yourself, even if you've never filed an unclaimed property claim in your life. Think about how many accounts, memberships, subscriptions, or old employer benefits you've simply lost track of. Not because you decided to abandon them. Because life moved forward, addresses changed, priorities shifted, and nobody ever sent a large enough, urgent enough signal to pull your attention back. That's the real subject here. Not government bureaucracy. Attention. What gets it, and what quietly slips past it. So somewhere, right now, there's very possibly money with your name on it. Not stolen. Not hidden. Just waiting in the exact kind of place your attention rarely goes, for exactly the reasons your mind was built the way it was. The database isn't the mystery here. You are.